Good morning, children. Let us continue the class. In previous class, you have learned about purification of water. In that, already you have learned about boiling and filtering, isn't it? So, how to boil the water, and when you boil, what happens? The germs will be killed, and that water is good for drinking. And second one was using filters. So, when you use filters, what happens? If there are any insoluble particles in water, that can be separated, and you get pure water. Now, let us continue with that. It is distillation. So what is distillation? See, distillation has been an essential part of nature. The water cycle about which we learned earlier is an example of natural distillation. Water cycle you have learned now. What is the water cycle? Due to the heat of the sun, the sunlight is falling on the water resources. Due to the heat of the sun, what happens? This water gets evaporated. And when it gets evaporated, what is happening? It is going to form the clouds. And in the clouds, when the water gets condensed, it falls down as rainfall. And again the rainwater is reaching to the water resources. Again what happens? The sun's light and heat is falling, it evaporates. So that is called as the water cycle. That is one method of distillation. Water cycle is one method of distillation. Distillation is a very effective and reliable method of producing pure water. So this distillation is very good for getting pure water. So removes many contaminants. Yeah, it removes many contaminants from drinking water. It is dissolving what? Bacteria and many compounds. So what happens? This distillation will remove all those waste materials, bacteria and other chemical compounds. So only you get pure water from distillation method. So in the process of distillation, the contaminated water is boiled. So first one, water is done, it is boiled so that it evaporates. When it is boiling, what happens? Only the vapor comes out. Only the vapor comes out, steam part, which is pure water. So that it evaporates, leaving behind impurities. So what happens? The impurities will be in water itself. Only the pure water is coming out in the form of vapor or steam. So leaving behind impurities. Boiling also kills the microorganisms. So when you boil, what happens? It is going to kill the microorganisms. What I said, bacteria, virus, protozoans, all these are called as the microorganisms. So it kills microorganisms when you boil water present in water. The vapor then is cooled and condensed. So what happens? The vapor, the steam what is coming out now, that is cooled. And when it is cooled, what happens? It turns into drops of water, which is in the gaseous form. Vapor is in the gaseous form now. When it is cooled, what happens? It will condense. When it condenses, it comes back to liquid form. Gaseous form will come into liquid form. So, see, when the vapor then is cooled and condensed to form pure water. So, distillation removes all the dissolved salts of water. If any salts are dissolved, what happens? Distillation process is going to remove this salts, means the chemicals which is present in them. Distilled water is mostly used for medical purposes, especially for medicine purposes they use distilled water. Why? They want pure water now for making medicines. For that reason, what happens? They use distilled water in making medicines. Since distillation removes all the dissolved salts in water, the water tastes flat and is unfit for drinking. You should never drink the purest water, especially the distilled water. Why? There is no amount of minerals, no salt, nothing. If you take that, what happens? Our body salt will get dissolved in it, wherein we will have deficiency of minerals in our body. So you should never drink distilled water. Distilled water is not good for drinking. For making medicines and for putting into that batteries and all that they use. Understood? So drinking water should be free of bacteria and impurities but must contain some minerals. It should be free from bacteria and impurities, but definitely it should consist the minerals. Why? Because this minerals is also a part of our diet. We require these minerals to our body, which not only add taste to the water but are also vital for the body. So the minerals dissolved means what happens? If there is minerals dissolved in water, it gives a taste to water. When you drink water, you feel happy to drink that water. And moreover, what happens? It is very much important. Minerals are very important to our body to carry out our life processes. Now let us go for the chemical treatment. Chemicals like chlorine and ozone, are strong germicides which kill the germs present in water. So there are two chemicals here. One is chlorine and one more is ozone. What they do? They are the strong germicides, means they are able to kill germs. Germicides means to kill germs which is present in water. Chlorination is a common way of purifying drinking water in town. Especially you see, when you drink water, we are, especially Bangaloreans, we are depending on Kaveri water, isn't it? Sometimes what happens when you drink water, if you have got Kaveri water connection, you see, when you are drinking this water, you get a chlorine smell. Have you observed? A chemical smell will come, that is called chlorine. So why this chlorine is used for water? It's for purification. Understood? See, chlorine is also added to, okay. Chlorination is a common way of purifying drinking water in towns. Chlorine is also added to swimming pools to kill the germs in water. Swimming pools, what happens? Many people go together and they swim, isn't it? That time what happens? There are chances of that water to get contaminated, to get polluted. So if you use chlorine to that water, what happens? It will purify the water. Understood? Especially in near swimming pool, if you go, they will have this batch by batch classes will be there. So you see, after one batch finished, immediately they will be purifying that. So that next batch when you go, you get a type of chemical smell. That is nothing but chlorine. Now exposure to ultraviolet rays. So if the water is exposed to ultraviolet rays, what happens? Ultraviolet rays means UV rays are invisible rays. You are not able to see them. Are invisible rays that are part of the solar energy. But from where are getting this ultraviolet rays? It is from the sun. So it is called as part of the solar energy. UV rays are harmful to people who spend a long time in the sun without proper protection. So if you just expose your body to UV rays, ultraviolet rays, what happens? It causes so many skin diseases. Okay. So UV rays are harmful to people who spend a long time in the sun without proper protection. So normally during summer season, what you do? You carry an umbrella, isn't it? Or you put the cooling glass. All these things you do know. Why? So that your ultraviolet rays will not directly enter your eyes, or it will not fall on your body. So normally you use full arm sleeves, isn't it? Cotton clothes and all those things. So that this ultraviolet radiations will not harm your body. See, ultraviolet rays are harmful to people who spend a long time in the sun without proper protection. Water exposed to UV rays, our body also is getting affected. Even if water is exposed to UV rays, what happens? Is freed from germs. UV rays, if it is falling, it will be free from germs. Hence, UV rays are used for sterilization and disinfection. So, ultraviolet radiations from the sun, solar energy, they use that for what? For sterilization and disinfection. Sterilization means what? When these patients are in the hospitals, they use certain materials to use for the patients. No, those materials will get sterilized. Means there is no presence of germs, disease causing germs. And disinfection, any infection is happening also, that will be away from using ultraviolet radiations. Electric water purifiers. At home, use this technique to purify water. We have got no aquaguards at home. So that is electric water purifiers. So they also use the same type of techniques. What is that? Passing of UV rays, ultraviolet rays. So when this ultraviolet rays passes through that water, what happens? Most of the disease causing germs are killed. Understood? Nowadays that UV rays aquaguard is there. Water purifiers are there at home. Now here they are given, say, town water supply system. Water supply, okay, that is next. Water treatment. How to treat the water for disinfectants. So you can see here, water treatment is a set of processes used to make water acceptable for a required purpose, such as drinking, industrial use, medical use, and so on. So this is evaporation of sea water to make salt. How do we get salt? It is from the sea water. That is why sea water is salty to taste. So here you see, water treatment is a set of processes used to make water acceptable for a required purpose, such as why it should be used that water purification for drinking purpose, for industrial purpose and for medical purpose. Okay. Then water is subjected to one or more of the above mentioned methods of purification to make it suitable for the required purpose. So you have learnt all these methods, out of this any methods will be used to purify the water. The methods chosen also depend upon the level of impurities present in the water and which type of method has to be used for which type of water, that you have to see, and accordingly it has to be purified. For example, tap water may be treated through the distillation process for medical use, while it may be treated through boiling and filtering for drinking purpose. See, if you are using for drinking, just normal drinking means what happens? It will be boiled. It will be boiled and filtered for normal drinking purpose. But at the same time, if it is used for medical purpose, it will be distilled. In distillation, what happens? Even the minerals will not be there. It is totally purified water in distilled water. But the normal water, what happens? The germs will be killed, but minerals will be present. Because we require minerals for our body. Now let us see about town water supply system. How we are getting water from the different water resources. Let us now learn about the water treatment plant used in small town water supply system. So how this water system is happening and how water is reaching to our houses. Let us see that. Small public water supply systems have water from a few wells, pumped into an elevated tank from which water flows. Elevated tank is this one. This is called as elevated tank. Okay. So from elevated tank from which water flows by gravity through a distribution system to homes as shown in the figure. I will explain to you. As the population served by the system increases, groundwater may not be enough to meet the needs of the people. However, hence surface water is used in addition to the groundwater. As surface water contains more impurities than groundwater, it needs to be purified by water purification methods before being supplied for human consumption. So already in the previous class itself I have explained you about surface water and groundwater. Surface water means water, river, lake, pond, sea and all that are surface water wherein we are able to see, which consists more amount of impurities. But what about groundwater? That is on the water table. I told you the water will seep down through the layers of soil and then it goes and settles on the rocky soil. Rock means it will never have any pores to go inside. On the rocks it will go and settle. From there only you put this wells and bore wells and all those things and get water. That is called as groundwater. So what they say here is the surface water is consisting of more amount of impurities than groundwater. Okay, so what happens here, you see, as surface water contains more impurities than groundwater, it needs to be purified by water purification method. So definitely this surface water has to be used for water purification method before being supplied for human consumption. So directly you cannot drink river water, directly pond water you cannot drink, lake water you cannot drink, sea water you cannot drink. What has to be done? It has to be purified. The place where the purification methods are applied on water is known as the water treatment plant. So water treatment plant, that will be there water will be treated and then it will be purified and then it will be sent to your houses through taps, okay, through pipes and taps. So you can see here, sedimentation tank. See, water is going from the water resource. There is a sedimentation tank. Sedimentation tank means what is that? Layers of soil, sand, soil, gravels, then all that fine mud and all those things will be there. Okay. So through that what happens? The water is passed. So that is called a sedimentation tank. There is presence of all that gravel, sand and all those things here. Then from there, see, you can see here. coal, sand, gravel. So that is called as filtration tank. So from sedimentation tank, water is purified. What happens? The impurities, big impurities and all will get settled in the sediments, and the remaining water only will be passed on. From that sedimentation rock, it is sedimentation tank, it is coming to the filtration tank. In filtration tank, you can see different layers here. Coal is there on the top, then comes sand, then comes gravel. Okay, so gravel also I have explained you. It's not like bigger particles, not very small particles. In between it is. So through with that, when this water passes through that, what happens? Again, it is filtered. Again, it is filtered. After that, that filtered ones are going for this tank, wherein their chlorine is added. So it is called as chlorination. So this, what does the chlorine do? If there is any impurities, that will be separated. By the action of chlorine, that impurities will be separated. Still, if there is impurities. So that is chlorination, purification of water. After doing all that, it's going to overhead tanks, elevated tanks or overhead tanks. You can see in certain areas, big tanks will be there, especially in Vijayanagar and all, you can see that. So this is overhead tanks. From that overhead tanks, what happens? It is reaching to your houses, you can see. Ground level tank will be there. The ground level tank through pipes. See, big pipes are there, blue color pipes. Okay, so through ground level tank, from there, this is overhead tank, upper, ground level tank means down. From that tank, what happens? Distribution system to the houses. You can see the house here. So it's all passing through the pipes, and then this will be connected to the taps of your house. In house you will have taps now. Through taps you are going to collect the water. So this is how the water transportation system is taking place. Okay. So we will continue again further, like what happens next we will see. Yes. So next what happens? After that purification, it's coming to your houses, isn't it? It generally consists of a sedimentation tank. Already I have explained that sedimentation tank, where heavier impurities settle down. I said no, already if there are impurities that will be settling down where? In this sediments. The other insoluble impurities are separated by filtration. Again, it is passing through coal, sand, gravel and all that. Now that is filtration. Water is made to pass through a filtration tank with several layers of sand, gravel and charcoal. Filtered water is then chlorinated to kill germs present in the water. So chlorination is done. Water purified in this way is supplied to home using pipelines. I told you one blue color pipe. So pipelines. By the time we drink the water, it is free of all impurities and germs. Like this, water is reaching to our houses, which is free from germs and impurities. Understood? Water conservation. Water needs to be conserved as there is a huge shortage in many places across the world. In the previous class I told you, all the water which is present in the world is not for drinking. Very less amount of water only you get for drinking. Most of them are saline water, salty water which cannot be taken. Okay. So here is it. Water needs to be conserved as there is a huge shortage in many places across the world. Across the world, drinking water is very less. Below are some methods which help conservation of water. How do we conserve? How do we save water? Efficient usage of water. How to use this water efficiently? See, water can be conserved by efficient use. For example, it is better to have a bucket and mug bath as it requires less water when compared to a shower bath. When you take a shower bath, what happens? More amount of water will be going and you will be enjoying that shower bath. Instead of that, if you got a bucket and a mug, you can just pour water from the, you can take water from the mug through bucket and then what you can do, you can pour it. Otherwise, shower means more amount of water will get wasted. Water used for cleaning cereals and vegetables while cooking can be used for watering plants. So now you, before cooking rice or before cooking vegetables, making curry and all that, you wash it, isn't it? So those washed water should not be thrown. What you can do? You can collect it in a vessel and put it to your pots. You have got pots, no? Plant pots. So use that for potting. What will happen? Instead of using again good water, this is the water which is already consisting of minerals. So if you use that water for planting purpose, what happens? Water is getting conserved and the waste water also will be cleared, isn't it? Waste water will be cleared and the good water will be conserved. So using machines for household chores like washing machine or dishwasher with full load conserves water as well as energy. So you are using dishwasher now. Directly you just leave the water and wash the dishes, means vessels. And then washing machines, that all requires more and more amount of water. In agriculture, the drip irrigation technique efficiently utilizes water and thus reduces its wastage. Drip irrigation. So drip irrigation means what happens? There will be pipes and that will be connected to fields, and what happens? There will be holes. In that pipe there will be holes. So that holes will be made near to the roots of the plants. So what happens? Once the water is passing through the pipes, what happens? Through these holes, water will fall drop by drop. So what happens? More amount of water will not get wasted. So drip irrigation is the best method of irrigation for growing crops. But all crops cannot grow through drip irrigation. But most of the plants you can use drip irrigation. So here see. In agriculture, the drip irrigation technique efficiently utilizes water and thus reduces its wastage. Coming to the next one is reduction of loss of water. How to reduce the loss of water? We should try our best to reduce loss of water. Water should not be left running while cleaning vegetables, brushing teeth or other chores requiring water. Toilets, taps, pipes, etc. should be regularly checked for leakage. So there are people, they'll be brushing, the tap will be on. They'll be still brushing, they're not washing, they're still brushing, keeping the tap on. When you go to toilets, when you just enter toilet only, you will on the tap and keep, and you'll be using that. What happens? There is lot of water wastage. And sometimes after cleaning also, what you do? You never off it. You never off the tap. What happens? There is again wastage of water. So you have to conserve water. You should never waste water. You have to conserve water, because I told you water scarcity is there. Okay. So here I can see while washing and all, you should not keep the tap open. In one vessel you can take and then wash it. Then they have given should be regularly checked for leakage here. So sometimes what happens? There may be leakage of pipes, that has to be checked. Taps, pipes and all has to be checked. Otherwise what happens? Water will be flowing. There will be wastage of water. Coming to wastewater, so recycling. Wastewater also can be recycled, which can be reused again. Water can be conserved by recycling wastewater for purposes such as watering plants and flushing toilets. For flushing toilets and watering plants, not required that we should use only the fresh water. The wastewater also can be used for that. In industries, wastewater is recycled, so it can be reused in the manufacturing processes. So in industries, there is a recycling unit wherein the wastewater is again recycled, again it is purified and it can be reused again. Okay. Now rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting is the process of collecting, storing and purifying rainwater. So rainwater harvesting in big buildings, now government only has made it compulsory that rainwater harvesting has to be done. Whenever the rain pours or what happens, that will be stored, and that rainwater can be used for so many other purposes. Many houses and buildings constructed in recent times harvest rainwater. Rainwater goes through pipes from the terraces and is collected at ground level or in underground tanks. So it what happens? Through terrace it comes and it falls on underground. Some tanks and all will be there. It will go and pour into that. So what happens? That water can be used for planting, then for toilets and all those you can use that. Collected at ground level or in underground tanks. The impurities in it settle down at the bottom of the tank. So what happens? There will be impurities now. When the rainwater pours, there will be impurities. That will be settling where? In the bottom of the tank. Water thus collected can be used for watering gardens or flushing toilets without further treatment. So that water you can use. The rainwater happens now. Whatever the water you collect, that can be used for flushing of toilets and for gardens. If treated, it can be used for varied purpose like refilling swimming pools. If it is properly treated, you can use that water for swimming pools also. For laundry purpose, washing. Laundry is washing. Washing clothes. Laundry is washing clothes. Irrigation means to watering into agricultural fields. And maintenance of livestock. For your animals which are domesticating, those animals also you can use this for washing and all those things. Understood? So that's about the rainwater harvesting. So now you can see here underground storage tank. Underground storage tank. So storage tank is here. There is rain, water falling. So you can see this storage tank. From there it is passing. See, it is going. See, filters are there. And then it will reach the tanks, underground tanks. From there it will reach to the tanks through taps, through pipes. Did you understand? So this is reversible water which can use it again. Have you understood? So here activity, make a household water conservation checklist with the help of your parents and discuss it in class. That's an activity for you. Okay. So let me stop it here, children. We'll continue in the next class. But main thing is you have to conserve water. You should not waste water. Conserve water. And when you drink water also, you should drink boiled, purified water so that you will not be getting any diseases. Thank you.